They're gonna be looking for you to walk around with the mask on. Don't do it.
Во время своих рассказов Респутин хороший король, светлые темные глаза,
Now here you got
богатые глаза, рассказывали
No, it's not. It's a video
второе
game.
поколение
It's not
лапландцев
real.
будет помогать.
Imagine you fighting yourself in certain aspects and ways, and I'm just telling you.
Такой народ рус.
See?
А если
See? Another hole.
черные силы победят,
Another hole.
то
You don't know what the hell's down.
появятся
Another hole.
новые люди. Их уже в народе называют странным словом
No, it's hard.
дарение
It's
клиновой
11 o'clock. They're trying to get you back with that crazy word. You get what I'm saying? No, they're acting like they're bro. They made a job out of following you in that. That was a cult. That's what I'm telling you. That was a cult. You were a victim of pain warfare. That's what that is. So it's like they didn't really understand what I was doing. But instead of that, it was a spiritual thing for you. I was there only to fight demons. I didn't go there to That's why getting me another 9 to 5 is like, the 9 to 5 should be this. Destroying my ego and things. Things of that nature. Doesn't matter.
Emperor
What do you
Vitiate
want me
has
to do?
always been known as
Like
the
on
Sith with
things?
strange and esoteric abilities in the Force. He spent much of his life shut up in laboratories and a library just studying the dark side, fascinated, obsessing over it. During the Great Galactic War, it even got so bad that some Sith in the Empire speculated if the Emperor ever existed anymore because of how secluded he had become. Only rarely do we get to see the fruits of his intense study, but when we do, it's absolutely game-changing. This was the case with one of his most vile experiments, the Children of the Emperor. This experiment in the dark side could have had the potential to bring down the Jedi and the Republic had it remained undiscovered. And to this day, it remains one of Vitiate's most brilliant strokes of genius. So today, follow us as we open another holocron to discuss the Children of the Emperor, and how they almost destroyed the Jedi Order from within. During the later years of the Great Galactic War, the Sith Emperor would plant his agents all throughout the Republic, and even some inside the Jedi Order. However, he needed them to remain completely undiscoverable and totally loyal to him alone, despite Jedi doctrine. Vitiate was an extremely cautious man. He didn't trust traditional spies, as any number of variables could go wrong, and he believed the Jedi would smell out their traitorous intent. To get around this tricky aspect of the Force, Vitiate decided that he needed agents that did not know that they were his servants. To this end, the Children of the Emperor were created. Infants from a myriad of worlds across the galaxy were taken by the Sith and brought to Vitiate. The Emperor worked closely with the Sith alchemist by the name of Darth Nul, who took the children and broke them down, indoctrinating them to unconditionally serve their Emperor. She would use alchemy and sorcery to alter their physiology in order to make them more receptive of the Emperor's power. After this, Vitiate himself would come to imprint upon them, imbuing within the minds of the children and their bodies his power, his thoughts. This would make them extensions of himself and his will. The children were then placed into the wide galaxy, hardly any of them knowing their true purpose, or even remembering what had happened. They essentially sleptwalked through life, until the Emperor had them awoken. They were known as his sons and daughters, taking numbered names much like the Inquisitors, and they were everywhere. The Children of the Emperor were present in all levels of the Republic, all levels of government, bureaucracy, military, and yes, even among the Jedi. Because the children had no idea what they really were, it was impossible to sense any darkness or malicious intent until they were activated. When that happened, the personality of the Emperor's child would overtake the everyday personality, unwillingly transforming them into an extension of Vitiate's will. But even then, the Sith Emperor had another trick up his sleeve. You see, all the rest of the children were protected from the sight of the Jedi by the first son. For a long time, it remained a complete mystery who the first son of Vitiate really was, until it was revealed to be Jedi Master Sayo Bakarn, a member of the High Council. The Jedi Master unknowingly used his his power in the Force to shield his siblings and ensure they remained undiscovered even by the sight of Satil Shan. The Sith Emperor was also poised to make a strike that would bring down the entire Jedi Order and the Republic with a snap of his fingers. However, a few flaws presented themselves in the form of loose ends. Many other Sith knew about the children of the Emperor, and it wasn't as much a well-guarded secret amongst the Sith Empire as it should have been. Malgus knew all of it all along, with a few others such as Darth Sajar. Darth Nul had been killed by Vitiate not long after the experiment concluded, as Vitiate no longer saw her as useful. But it was from Sajar that the Jedi would first learn of the children's existence. Sajar had been a Jedi Padawan who briefly turned to the dark side and joined the Sith Empire. But soon, he would renounce his Sith ways, being brought back to the light by a powerful Knight of the Order. Out of universe, this Jedi Knight is your playable character in SWTOR. Sajar ended up divulging the information about the children of the Emperor to this Jedi though, and his word was confirmed when one of the children by the name of Valus made his moves on another child within the Order. The Jedi Knight who had turned Sajar had a Padawan by the name of Kira. She was a former child of the Emperor who learned of her true origins and fled the Empire. Valus had attempted to capture her and bring her back to the Emperor for reconditioning and to be reinstated as one of his children, but he was defeated by this Jedi Knight. Kira would be convinced by her master to divulge all the information she had on the mysterious group, and after this, Kira would be corrupted by the mind of the Emperor as she attacked her master, attempting to kill them. But during the duel, Kira managed to use strenuous power in the light to sever the mental link between herself and Emperor Vitiate. And while this was occurring, another Jedi diplomat was traveling to the Outer Rim, having formed a Rift Alliance. This alliance was a group of ambassadors who represented planets that had a growing dislike for the Republic's supposed incompetence and threatened to secede from them. The Jedi was with them, trying to fix whatever problems they had to restore their faith in the Republic. Little did this Jedi know, though, that among the Rift Alliance ambassadors was a hidden child of the Emperor, someone feeding all of their movement to the Sith. The Sith were then using this information to further destabilize relations between the Rift and the Republic, but the Jedi diplomat managed to uncover the traitor and stop them before he committed an act that would surely wreck all alliances the Republic had with the Rift. Right before he died, though, the child mentions the first son, the leader of the children, who was shielding the others from the Jedi's sight. As the Cold War raged on, more and more children of the Emperor were being activated by the day, causing even more problems for the wider Republic. This wasn't until the Jedi uncovered a holo recording on Corellia, one which incriminated the identity of the first son, the member of the Jedi Council. When the Jedi Master was confronted, the personality of the first son assumed control of his body and attempted to use his influence to turn the tide of the war on Corellia. However, the Jedi Knight dueled the first son and defeated him, allowing Bakarn to regain control of himself and destroy the identity that belonged to the Emperor, restoring the member of the High Council. Now realizing what he truly had become, the Jedi Knight removed his shield from the other children, finally enabling the other Jedi to sense the darkness lying dormant within them. After that, it was only a matter of rooting out the children, purifying them with the light side of the Force. Although this horrible thing happened to people unwillingly, there is a happy ending. The children of the Emperor would eventually get their revenge. Their spirits would be among those present during the final battle with Tenebrae, Vitiate, and Valkorion. The children would join their power with the rest of those whom the Emperor had wronged over his thousands of years, and collectively they would rise up as one to destroy his spirit once and for all. The spirits of the children, lives stolen, consumed by the greed of Vitiate. They lingered in the shadowy corners of existence. They waited. They bided their time. Their anguish transformed into a resolve. Ages passed. Empires rose and fell. And yet their watchful presence endured, bound by purpose. They knew that even the mightiest of Sith Lords, steeped in immortality, could not escape the inevitable fall from grace that awaited them. And when Vitiate's dominion finally crumbled, when his arrogance led to his undoing, the time had arrived. In his final moment of vulnerability, as his essence teetered on oblivion, they struck. Like the vengeance of the Force, they surrounded him. Their once devoured spirits, now the devourers. They consumed him utterly, stripping away his power, his pride, and his existence. In the silence that follows, the galaxy felt the faintest ripple, a fleeting moment of justice. The children, now free, faded into the Force itself, their torment finally at an end. Darth Vitiate, the immortal tyrant, was no more, undone by the very souls that he had sought to dominate. This was the experiment that nearly destroyed the Jedi and the Republic from within. A plan so flawless in creation, but horribly executed. The Emperor used them to disrupt order, to stop border disputes during the Cold War, and destabilize relations with certain stronghold worlds. While they were helpful during wartime, there was a huge missed opportunity with sleeper agents being literally undetectable among the Jedi. One in the High Council. Vitiate could have been gaining information on the Jedi war efforts, or even used the First Son to begin assassinating members of the High Council. Or he could have waited until the right time, activated all of his children at once, too many for the Jedi to deal with, and then used them to completely topple the government of the Republic. I personally think that he not only left too many loose ends among his own empire, but he waited far too long to actually do something with the weapons that he had. Their creation was genius, but their execution was fumbled. Vitiate was of course playing the long game. He was focusing more on his time and attention to the Eternal Empire in the unknown regions of space, and not what he had as a Sith Lord. The purpose of these agents was to distract the Republic from what was going on beyond them, so that the Sith Empire would be blinded by the arrival of the Eternal Empire as well. But what do you think, my friends? Do you think that Vitiate should have gone for the kill? And would you like to see a Sith this crafty more often in the lore? I think Darth Bane would have approved of this kind of cunning movement, assuming it's executed properly, of course. But let us know your thoughts on this down below, and the secret weapon of Emperor Vitiate. As always, my friends, be careful where you venture in the galaxy and who you trust. And as always, may the Force be with you.
Don't forget. Told you. I thought that was it also. Make it sense. Make it sense. That's all I do. But you were supposed to leave there and we would have picked you up. It's like, it never works that way, man. Anytime they tell you these things, it never works that way. We know we have to work it. Told you, look how low it is. Told you, we was about to go forward. Look at all that scoring. You're like, yeah, I'm not believing it. But that's the point. It's a lot of score. They didn't expect me to be off bed or shit. But I was like, man, we're not doing this. Exactly, man. She was gonna stuff you with a whole bunch of lies and then use you as a loudspeaker to have you project out all these absurdities and people get mad at you and you're like, what are you mad at? You don't understand what I'm saying. This isn't yours. Told you. They've been waiting to put the sleeper agent into the game. Told you. It's the same thing. Like, no, please don't hit me. Please don't hit me. They didn't mean it. It's I don't know. It's fair. I'm tired of fighting. It's the same thing. Every night. Real thing. You'll get your words. So if I don't want to be famous for it, what else do you want to be famous for? What you gonna come and start out nowhere selling what? But then when you sit in that energy of that all that lowers, it's like, well, I should be making pancakes again. I'm like, I should be making pancakes. I should be feeding myself. Well, why am I not? And see, hey, that's what that turns into. You can't lose weight by not eating. That doesn't make sense. You can decay by not eating, maybe. The body still needs something. Grain, fruit. So you hit the break again. That's the break. It's not something you pick up, that's the break. Pick up the break. Well, hit the break, excuse me. That's the point, that's the break. Totally smart. Gotta use it. You gotta use the break. You can't just there's too much power in that break. Because he saw exactly what you saw. I was like, yeah, that's 14